Welcome everyone. Today is a buy or buy series on this company called Singtel. So if you can see the slide with the title Singtel, can you just type in Singtel or type in ST into the chat so I know that everybody can see it. Okay, good. Zihao is able to see it. Joseph, cool. Nice. Okay. So yeah, thanks for being here. And today we're going to talk about this company called Singtel. I'm sure most of us are very familiar with this company and stuff, but maybe let me just bring you to some of the facts that probably not everybody would know, or we never thought about it that from the angle. So let's see whether this presentation can give you some new insights into Singtel. Okay, so of course, remember to like and share, like and follow our YouTube. So this is our YouTube channel. After this video, we will be put onto our YouTube channel also. So this is where you can get most of our buy or buy series and also other important information that you can see. So before we start, of course, we have to talk about disclaimer. This presentation is a recommendation, not a recommendation. It is a case study. So if you make money from it, very good. If you lose money from it, then please do your own due diligence before you invest. So this is just our own opinion, and this does not constitute any buy or sell advice coming from Ultimate Investing. Okay, so let's go. This is the framework that we've been using. Bowen has been using this for a lot for our buy or buy series. So BIG, the background, industry, and growth, and then we look at the profits. So let's start with the background. Okay, I share this page from the Singtel annual report, and I'm not sure if are you surprised that actually Singtel has so many businesses across the at least Asia, if not the globe. If you are surprised, can you just type in surprise? If you're not surprised, just type in not surprised. Okay. A lot of time we just think that Singtel is the operator that in Singapore, the biggest operator and stuff like that. But actually, Singtel has evolved over the years, and about 70% or more than 70% of their profit actually comes from overseas. Okay, and you can see that these operators, example, Airtel in India, Globe in Philippines, AIS in Thailand, Telkomsel, okay, a lot of these places, actually I would say almost every one of them has more subscribers than Singapore. The easy fact is because they are much bigger. Indonesia is the fourth biggest population in the whole world, and India is the second after China, or maybe even the first, I'm not sure. So you can see that Singtel, from just a local telco, has actually grown into a regional, I would say a regional, very big business, okay? And of course, Singtel, you think about it, there's two sides of the business. There is the consumer side, and also there is the enterprise side of the business. Okay. So this gives you more insights into what the company is looking at. If you look at the positioning, they are number one in Philippines, in Globe Telecom. Number one is AIS in Thailand. Number one via Telkomsel in Indonesia. Okay, Bharti Airtel currently is actually third largest operator in India in this case. And Singapore, of course, they have almost 50% of the market share. They are the biggest. Okay, and then Optus. Okay, if you look at Optus later, we look at the numbers. Optus is one of the major revenue generator of Singtel Group. Okay, and one thing I would like to point out is also for Airtel, they are not only in India itself, they are actually in a lot of more than 10 African countries. So that could be something that is coming up. Okay. So this organization has been reorganized, I think about 2-3 years ago. So now they have it under the Group Consumer Group, which actually includes the Singtel, Optus, Airtel, AIS, Globe, and Telkomsel. And then they have the Group Enterprise, which mainly the business are from Singtel and Optus. And then they have NCS and Trustwave, which are doing more on the enterprise side of things. And then there's a new group being created called the Group Digital Life. Okay, later I'm going to touch on this company called Amal B, which I think may have some growth potential, or this is where the telcos will actually be moving towards, because frankly, telco has to evolve out of just being a pipe provider. It's like, if example, think about it as a water pipe. The water pipe provider does not add a lot of value. It's essential, but it does not add a lot of value to it. So actually, telcos, you can see, is going to move into more value-added services. Okay, like I mentioned, right, if you look at this chart on the Australia revenue and also the EBITDA is basically earnings before interest and tax. Okay, you can see that Optus is actually the major generator of revenue for Singtel Group in this case. Okay, and based on this number, these are quarterly numbers, so a large portion of it also come from the overseas associate like AIS, Airtel, Globe, and stuff like that. Okay, any questions, you all can just post into it. Jonas, I'll talk about Amazon later. I've got a slide on that. And then Jackson, yes, they actually went to Africa. So Singtel is not just your local telco operator. Okay, so these are the latest numbers that I've got, financial year end 31st March. You can see that those which I circle in red color means decline. Those I've actually circled in green. In green, they are actually the area that actually show improvement from the 2018 to 2019. These are not the latest numbers. The 2020 numbers are actually out, but because some of my data, I could not get it, so I actually base everything based on the 2019 numbers that I have. Okay, so this is what I have, and you can see that based on the 2019-2018 numbers for Airtel, they're actually losing money. Actually, in 2020, the latest numbers, they start to make a little bit of money from there. Okay, so just want to bring, probably most of you all will know this fact, but actually Singtel is the biggest component of the STI index. STI index comprises of 30 companies in Singapore, and Singtel makes up 8% of the index. So it is actually huge. What significance does this have? Actually, you realize that if people or companies or investor wants to bring up the STI index, they can actually buy Singtel. And if they want to bring down the STI index, they can actually sell Singtel. So that is the significance of this being the biggest company on the Singapore STI index company. And look at the shareholder, okay? You can see that Temasek Holding is the major shareholder. They have 52% of the shares. And then a lot of Singaporeans, like you and me, probably we are given some Singtel shares previously. Those born earlier, I think it was in the 1990s that they start giving out Singtel shares. So 12% of that. So think about it, 64% are actually owned by Singaporeans or Singapore organizations. Okay, so this is that. So now I'm going to go into the industry. If you're still following me so far, can you just type in yes into the chat group? I didn't ask for 888 Jackson. Okay, I'll start with doing 888 later. And Bowen, if there's anything you want to jump in, please feel free to do so. Okay, because sometimes it's good to have another voice also, because I may be quite myopic some certain things because I'm looking at it from one angle. Okay, so can you type in the chat group, right? What do you see in this picture? What does this picture actually summarize, or what does it say? It has something to do with my feeling about the industry actually. Can you all see the picture? And sunset, sunrise, sunset, Jia Wei say sunset, Min Chuan say sunset. Actually, how to differentiate sunset or sunrise, I don't know. But what I did was I actually go to Google and I type in sunset. So this was the best picture I can find. Freedom, oh Glenn, very creative. I didn't even know that. Okay, so this is how I view the industry, and also partially one of the reason why I leave the industry. Okay, so this is what I got from the internet, from some research. It says that current telco environments, right, especially in the developed countries, okay, things are not looking too promising. Okay, actually back in 2012 when I was in the industry, I already see this thing coming. Okay, data usage is going through the roof, but the problem is a lot of people are having data buffets. That means you don't pay more, and even when you use more data. So this has become a norm. Okay, so what happened? What is most important to a telecom operator is they need to have this thing called ARPU. Okay, type in ARPU, ARPU into your chat group. Okay, what does ARPU means? It means average revenue per user. Okay, just like let's say, example, you are a Singtel user and you are signed up for this plan, and how much you're paying per month, and then how much value added assets, value added services that you're using. So this will be part of the ARPU calculation. Okay, when things get too technical, right? Please let me know. Just type TMI. Okay, just type TMI if I go into too technical things, because I used to be from this domain. Okay, so OTT services, we are top services. That means things that provide information over the top of just data. So example, the Netflix or Spotify and all these things, these are considered OTT. Okay, so a lot of times, like, these people are making massive money. Netflix, Spotify, and stuff like that are making massive money, but Singtel doesn't really get much of the revenue. There's some revenue sharing and stuff like that, but I mean, to Singtel, this is too little. They want to have more. So what happened is, telco has become a commodity. So your fiber network and your mobile network actually has become a pipe. They are just a provider of the pipe. A lot of money are actually made at the application layer by the Netflix, by the Spotify, and so what you have. Okay. Also, another very worrying sign is mobile penetration rate. So it's how many people already have handphone. In Singapore, can you take a guess what is the mobile penetration rate we have now? Can we take a guess? 124? Wow, how we come with that precise number? Any more guesses? 98? Okay. Any more? Maybe one more? 80, 90, 200? Wow, actually 200 is no, between 124 and 200. Actually, somewhere I read it's about 150. Okay, it's about 150%. That means each person have about 1.5 mobile. Don't ask me how they calculate the 0.5 mobile, but no, it's just an average. Okay, so 1.5 is whoever needs a phone have a phone already, and some people have 2 phones. Okay, so it's very hard to grow subscriber numbers in the mobile environment. Okay, and then the intensity and frequency of new technology disrupts increase. So end of the day, like I said, is commoditized. What they need to do is actually decrease the investment and get their ROI quickest. Okay, so handset subsidy is also a problem, because now iPhone 10 or iPhone 11 is very expensive. So customer expect them to be subsidized in that sense. So they have to come up with greater subsidy from the marketing budget and stuff like that. Okay, and also there's more new entrants. Okay, like in Singapore, there's also people who come in as a virtual player and stuff like that, which makes the pie actually smaller. So these are all the things that are not really going very well, especially for developed countries. Okay, in non-developed countries, if you are there as an incumbent, or we call it the first player, or even as well as the biggest player, there are still opportunities. But in developed countries, they actually have to move out of the model of being just a pipe provider. They have to do value-added services. Okay, so these are the things that what they are trying to pivot to. I don't know how much Singtel has done. I don't have insights information nowadays, but from what I gather, okay, so these are things they need to do. They need to change it to a digital lifestyle brand. Okay, people are attracted to the brand of Singtel. Okay, so they need to start doing branding. They need to start providing content, healthcare, IT, cloud services. They need to start be able to charge or get a part of the revenue for all these services that is actually going on top of what the previous infrastructure layer they're doing. Okay, so they have to use technology to actually transform customer experience and lowering costs. So actually, the last part, transforming customer experience and lowering costs, this is where 5G come in. Okay, the promise of 5G is they probably can do that, and there's some exciting thing coming on, but we have to see how it's done. Do you know? Just curious. Do you know that in 5G, right, Singapore is one of the slower adopter compared to the peers? Do you realize that? Do you know that most of the other countries actually have, I won't say super slow. After I show you, actually most of them have already except us. We thought we are fast, right? We are not. Okay, let's look at some growth potentials. Okay, so again, these are the numbers that I see. So these are the area where there is actually some growth. Okay, but not so much. But I would think 2 areas which could be a bit interesting is in Globe, okay, and also in the Group Digital Life. Okay, although these are very small businesses at the moment, but their potential to growth. For Airtel, possible also if the Amazon deal come in. Okay, I'm going to talk about that later. Okay, Peer comparison. This is a very standard slide that most people do. But after listening to almost 15 minutes of my presentation, do you think I will talk about StarHub and M1? If you think yes, type yes. If you think no, type no. Jackson, yes. Are you sure, Jackson? Okay, I won't talk about them because that will be like comparing an elephant to something very, very small. Okay. So, firstly, Singapore Singtel market comprise only about 13% of the group revenue. So it's too small. It's not a major revenue that we're talking about. And also, like I said, Singapore has actually saturated. There's not much growth. Even with 5G coming in, it's a cash cow, but I wouldn't see there's much growth. So I would like to actually look further. This is a chart I get out of Wikipedia. So you can see that out of this chart, right, China Mobile has the most number of subscribers. But actually look at it, Bharti Airtel actually is quite big. Okay, I think this chart is being compiled as such that not only Bharti in India, it also includes the Bharti Africa subscriber and stuff. Because if not, then I would think players like Reliance or Tata probably will be bigger than Bharti because they are Bharti Airtel is the third in India. Okay, but look at this. Singtel owns 36% of Bharti. So all the revenue that the profit and loss that comes in through Bharti, they get 36% of it. You say 36% not a lot, but actually it's not. I checked Bharti's Airtel market cap is roughly about $40 plus billion US, $40 plus billion US. Okay, so you can see that Singtel as a group, right, has actually almost 700 million mobile subscribers. That's quite a lot. Think about it. China Mobile has 946. Singtel as a group has 700. So technically, we shouldn't place Singtel to compare to StarHub and M1 because we are looking at a much bigger idea. Okay, some of the questions are running through quite fast. I will think we have a Q&A later. Won't help me take note of them because I just want to make sure I got time to finish all my presentation. So what I did was I just go to Morningstar and did a very quick comparison. This probably is not the best comparison, but this is something quick and easy we can find. So they actually brings up 3 companies for me. They brings up Telstra, which is the #1 operator in Australia, and they brings up AT&T, okay, a very big operator in US. Okay, so you can see that the market cap, right, Singtel is not small, it's 43 billion Sing dollar, okay. Telstra is 38 billion Australian dollar, okay, so similar size. And then AT&T is about 233 billion US dollar, okay, but 233 billion US dollar for AT&T comprises also of their media portion, okay, the Time Warner and stuff. So, but as a very quick comparison, we look things like price to book. If you look at it as an asset, what is the price to book? Okay, so you can say that the price to book of Singtel is roughly between Telstra and AT&T. AT&T has a lower price to book, Telstra has a higher price to book. If you look at the price to earnings, roughly about the same, slightly a premium, okay, 17.5 versus roughly about 16.8 for the 2 other operators. Dividend yield, this information from Morningstar, but I actually did a cross check, not very accurate. Actually, dividend yield of Singtel currently is about less than 5% after I show you the calculation. But even saying that, right, so it's still better than Telstra, but lower than AT&T. Okay, so this gives you an idea of where Singtel stand with the big players. Okay, not StarHub or M1. Okay, let's go into the risks that I see. Okay, like I said, Singtel is such a big company. It's quite hard to actually analyze it. So I have to break it into pieces to analyze. But from the telecom industry and for 12 years and then as an investor for 8 years, these are the things that I see in the telecom industry that are potentially risks. First is foreign currency risk. Like I think Jackson has pointed out clearly just now. In Australia, Australian dollar has been dropping. So how does it affect? Well, it will affect the books because Singtel needs to recognize the revenue using Singapore dollars. So foreign currency risk is definitely, so remember they have exposure to Thailand, they have exposure to Philippines, they have exposure to India. Okay, second is a regulatory risk. Many years ago, I think it's almost 8 to 10 years ago, something like that, okay. Singtel used to own more of AIS, more of Telkomsel. Okay, but because they are the #1 operator in their own country. Okay, there's rules being said that Singtel cannot have so much ownership, so they actually have to reduce. They are forced to reduce their stake. Okay, for this. So this is also some risk because you're no longer talking about your own country. You're talking about you're investing in an operator which is in overseas, and this overseas country may not want Singapore entity to have so much stake in their operator. So that could be a risk. Access to spectrum, like I said, 5G is coming in, and we have quite a fair bit of things going on for 5G. Actually, I'm just curious, if you all know who won the 5G auction in Singapore, just type into the chat group. Just see whether you all have been following. The last one is actually litigation. Okay, litigation risk is actually you get sued. So what happened is, example, Singtel has outages, then people complain. For half a day, cannot get internet access. What happened? IDA will look into it and they will issue fines for them. Okay, so these are the litigation risks that they have. And also, being in so much countries and stuff like that, there are definitely some lawsuits that they will have. So Celine is right. Singtel won the 5G rights together with StarHub and M1 as a joint venture. Okay, so this is also interesting. Later I'll touch on that also because it's a JV. So there's only 2 licenses being issued in Singapore. One is owned by Singtel. The other is won by a joint venture between StarHub and also M1. Okay, so this is the one. So in this news was in 9th April. Okay, so StarHub and M1 actually combined. Why do you think StarHub and M1 combined? Maybe you can just type in the chat group. Why do you think they actually combined? Okay, why do they all combine? Anybody? Because remember I said Singtel is so much brotherhood. No, not brotherhood. Singtel is so much bigger than the rest. They have so much more revenue and stuff like that, that it's unfair for them to fight. And then realize that there's only 2 spectrum in this case. So what happened is for 5G, right, we may move into another place where they actually have co-sharing of spectrum, or they call it a wholesale model. So example, right, TPG didn't get the license, but let's say TPG wants to work as operator, they can actually work out a wholesale arrangement with Singtel or StarHub and M1, and then get a piece of the license and then operate and stuff like that. So this is a bit different. Previously, most of the, or should I say all operators need to have their own spectrum. Now there is the wholesale model. Think about GOMO, all the cheaper options. GOMO is actually by Singtel, and then you got Circle Life, you got all this coming out, right? All these actually use wholesale agreement to. So yes, the reason is to reduce risk, split the cost. Yeah, split the cost is very important because to roll out 5G network is actually not cheap. Okay, it's not cheap. But also saying that, right, the worst people, they are not so suffering by the operator because they have this thing called vendor financing. Vendor financing means if I'm Ericsson or I'm Nokia, okay, I provide you this this network, right? I don't have to pay you in advance. Usually they work out a payment terms which is favorable to the operator, especially a big operator like Singtel. Okay, I've dealt with Singtel for 12 years when I deal with their associates, AIS, Globe, and stuff like that. As a supplier to them, your terms are not usually very good because they are so big. They have this thing called cost advantage. They can really push you down. And if, even terms of payment terms, right, they can push you that I'll pay you back many years down the road, not now. You want a business? Because previously there was a China company, Huawei, they actually do a lot of financing. This is not, they are doing it at a higher level. It's not vendor financing. It's a government financing. Okay, China government give them money to finance this type of projects. Okay, that was 10 years ago. I don't know how much it has now are still going on, but that was it. Okay, so by 2025, Singapore will have actually 2 nationwide networks. Okay, and then there will have this whole selling arrangement that can be possible. So this is something which, because of it, only two spectrum, and then the wholesale arrangement and stuff, we don't know how this will play. So I place it as a risk because I'm unknown. It's a bit untested at the moment. Okay, but it could turn out that with the wholesale arrangement, it actually benefits Singtel. We have to see. Okay, so this thing is another risk that is actually recognized already in the latest quarter earnings. Is recognized this 300 million of spectrum costs. Because you see, they own 36% of Bharti Airtel. So Airtel go and buy this spectrum, they bid for it, they got it, and say, hey, you pay 36% of the total price that we pay lah, because you invest in us. So in the books, they actually have to provision for this, so that after that you can see, right, 2019 numbers of Singtel is not very good. Okay, Indonesia. Okay, why I say it's a risk. If you look at this chart, right, okay, Indonesia has the most potential, okay, in 2025 to grow the internet business and stuff like that. Okay, it has the most potential. But is 5G in Indonesia? Unfortunately, no. Okay, the earliest it will be implemented is 2022, which is 2 years from now. Okay, and knowing that things in Indonesia, it probably will be delayed. Okay, so not very good for them, because 5G could give them a lot of revenue, especially in this thing called fixed wireless access. Just type in FWA. After that, I'm gonna talk about it more when I talk about group. Okay, so FWA is some of the feature of 5G. Okay, so you see Telkomsel is one of the biggest contributor, and then with this not being ready, then only in 2020, it's not 2020, it's 2022. Okay, let's look at the bright side, some of the opportunities. Okay, this news was only out on 4th June, so very recent news. Amazon wants to buy 2% stake, 2 billion stake in Singtel associate. Okay, so how much is 2 billion stake? I think I did a rough calculation. Market cap of Airtel is about 42 billion. Okay, so it's around 5% of the stake. I'm not sure whether Singtel will sell part of it, because they only own 36%. I mean, Airtel probably can they can actually just sell their own stake. We don't know how this arrangement, but why we see this as an opportunity? Okay, because there must be a reason why Amazon want to invest in that. What do you think could be the reason? Maybe you can just type into the chat group. What could be the reason that they want to invest? Okay, because Airtel, if you look at it, although they are number 3 in India, but they have access to Africa, and Africa is a growing continent, and there is growth access. So, and also, I'm not sure whether Amazon is selling in Africa now, but that means Jeff Bezos probably is thinking, maybe I can start looking at the Africa market. Okay. By the way, they are not the first to go into Africa. Huawei is very, very established in the African markets. Okay, they're very, very. Won't say sell eyes to Africa. Don't know, not sure. Yeah, but this is something which I think could be positive, but we have to see whether this deal go through, because they are just early talks. Okay, but then it could be something potential that they see value in Bharti Airtel and could make the business better. So this could be something, yeah. Okay, Australia, if you look at it, one of the earlier to launch it, they already have, I just downloaded this from the website today. So they have a 5G home and also 5G mobile phones. So when I talk about 5G homes, right, what it means is fixed wireless access. Fixed wireless access is this concept that means in the places where it is rural, instead of laying fiber or using cable or using satellite, I'm actually using mobile technology to provide a home network. Okay, so this is what fixed wireless access, and the main use of fixed wireless access is actually in rural areas. So Australia have a lot of rural areas, and even Globe, Philippines, outside of Manila, there's a lot of rural areas. And then of course Telkomsel, which I think there's tremendous opportunity there, but I think they are a bit late. So this is something which I'll closely watch. And then also they are auctioning another frequency, which is in 2021, which is 26 gigahertz. Okay, so a bit of technical things. The lower the frequency, the bigger the coverage. So looking at this, 2.3 gigahertz can have a further coverage area than 3.5, than 26. But why they want 26 is probably in the very dense area where you can have a lot of data. So you need to have this bandwidth to support the data. Okay, can I just check, is it too much information at this moment, the technical terms, or you guys are okay? If it's TMI, type TMI. If you're okay, type okay into the chat group. Okay, so Globe has talked about 5G fixed wireless access. So that's why Globe is one of the earliest in the region to actually have 5G, and they actually deploy their fixed wireless access. So in 2019, they already start doing it. Okay, and so now in 2020 February, they are actually rolling out the mobile services and stuff. So Globe is one of forerunner, and you can see that 2019 numbers of Globe are encouraging. We have to see whether 2020 numbers are even more encouraging from Globe. So this is some of the bright spot. Okay, Jackson cannot decide. Okay, /TMI. Okay. Okay, another opportunity which I want to talk about is this Amobi. Can I have a show of hands or test type in if you heard about Amobi? Type Amobi. If you have not heard about it, just type no, N-O. Type N-O if you do not heard about Amobi. Some have, Jackson have, okay. Joseph have, okay, interesting. I'm going to just play a small video on this and see whether you guys can get an idea.
Your customers move to channel from one device to another. Where will you find them next? With your data in so many different places, how can you know that your marketing is working? You need a platform that brings all your channels and data together. A powerful integration of audience planning, omni-channel activation, and marketing analytics. Introducing Amobi, one unified marketing platform, everything you need in a single login. The experience starts with your personalized dashboard. It highlights exactly what's important to you, so you can access ongoing tasks, top-performing segments, campaign alerts, and your favorite KPIs. Find audiences on the right channel with the right inventory. Activate campaigns in real time on the open web and on social media. Manage all your campaigns, channels, and audience data in a single workflow. Only Amobi gives you the full picture. You'll get deep insights on your current customers, future prospects, and the competitive landscape. Only Amobi is built to solve your toughest challenges. It's also collaborative, and when brands, agencies, and technology providers come together, you get the best results. Only Amobi, every imaginable advantage.
Okay, so Amobi is also, I only dig into it recently, and actually, Jackson, you're not wrong. Yeah, it's an ads marketing company, but they also provide a lot of things called analytics. Nowadays, analytics with big data, analytics is everything. So I see that there could be some bright sparks here because firstly, they own a lot of infrastructure, they have a lot of data. So with Amobi, they can actually help their customers to know what is the preference of their users. So this could be valuable for them, okay? So instead of looking at Google and looking at Facebook and stuff like that, okay, the customers can actually get the information directly from the telcos. So this could be something big, but at the moment it's a very, very small portion of the business and it's not really profitable. They're just like a startup, they're just breaking even, but there could be some bright sparks here. Okay, I'm not from this space because when I was in telco, I was in the wireless, I was in infrastructure part. This is something not as an investor, I can sort of find out what it is, but I'm not an insider in this domain. Okay, so we go into the feed portion of this. Let me see, is this the numbers portion? Yes, the 7 financial checks. So the first one is the growing revenue, positive EPS, growing free cash flow, return on equities, net margins, interest coverage, and PEG. So this portion, I'll probably turn it over to Bowen to let him run through it with you guys so that you all can see him also. So Bowen, you want to take it from here?
Okay, sure. Thanks, Paul. So can we give a clap for Paul, okay, for his sharing? So just put in CLAP, clap. Okay, I think there's definitely a lot of good insights, especially coming from, because you have the background knowledge, you used to be from that industry. So if I were to be the one that is doing this research, probably I will compare StarHub and M1. So yeah, I can see the difference in the quality. So I'm glad that you guys are here hearing from Paul and not from me. But anyway, for the financial check, okay, that one I can do it, no issue. So I think that is very exciting. You want to see from the numbers perspective. I mean, just now we have went through the background, the industry, the risk, the opportunity that is available for the company. But right now we focus on the numbers. So looking at the numbers, if we look at the revenue, okay, Singtel has a growing revenue? We can see that, nope. Okay, it's actually quite stagnant. In fact, it has been dropping. Then if you look at the earnings per share, okay, we are just looking at positive earnings per share. So we are quite lenient. So we actually give it a pass. Yeah, but of course, if you can focus on the numbers on the right, you can see that from 0.24, it actually came all the way down to about 0.19 and then 0.07, which is the most recent one. So that is actually quite worrying. And of course, we look at the cash flow of this company. We are glad that the cash flow is still relatively positive. Okay, that is still a good sign that the cash flow has no issue. So moving forward, right, let's take a look at number 4. So number 4 is the efficiency of the management, the ROE. Is it more than 15%? We can see the ROE is 3.8. Okay, of course, that is very closely related to the earnings. Earnings has dropped. So as a result, the return on equity has also dropped significantly. So net margin, okay, from a business perspective, are they able to produce a high margin product? Okay, you can see that the margin has also dropped to 6.5, which is below 10%. So that's also another fail. And of course, coming to the last one, which is looking at the debt level. So how is Singtel able to pay off the debt? Okay, we are looking for interest coverage more than 5. So right now, again, you can see that based on the earnings, it's also below 5. So if you look at the summary, okay, and I think there's also the last one, which is number 7, looking at the PEG. Okay, so PEG for us is to tell us whether is it undervalued or overvalued based on a growth company. So first of all, I think we all can agree that Singtel, the growth is pretty dependent on the overseas sector, and of course depending on the 5G. Okay, so again, there's a lot of uncertainty over there. So growth definitely is a fail. So another way we can actually look at this company is looking at the dividend. Okay, so coming up, okay, just a summary, we can see that out of the 7, most of them failed. Okay, looking at the dividends, okay, one thing we want to focus on for the dividend is you can see that from 2015 all the way to 2019, the dividend has been pretty much stagnant. Okay, increased a little bit from 0.18 to 0.21 and then back to 0.18. One thing to take note is that for the very recent dividend, they actually reduces quite significantly. Okay, so I think the 0.11 is inclusive of the very recent reduction in the dividend. As a result, the total dividend for 2019 was actually 0.11. So using that number, I think right now we are getting a dividend yield of about 4%.
Yes, correct. There's something wrong with the Morningstar.
Yeah, so that is something for us to take note. So of course, you can do your own calculation. Just take the dividend per share divided by the current share price, and you will be able to get the dividend yield. But something to also take note is that we want to also project moving forward. Okay, what would be the dividend per share to be like? So maybe Paul, would you also want to share, what do you think? Do you think Singtel will be able to continue to pay out like 0.11, or would it go higher, or would it actually drop?
Very good question. Unlike Bowen, I don't have a crystal ball. So actually, the 0.11 actually is also a projection that Morningstar put in, because what happened was the actual numbers is actually 0.125. What happened is I think it's 0.545. They recently dropped, but then the previously they pay about 0.68. So but even with that number, it's less than 5%. Going forward, I just recently read the latest quarterly reports. It's saying that they are trying to conserve cash for 5G expansion. Okay, that could be an excuse, that could be real, we don't know, but management has already signaled to you, I think I want to give less. So whether the final dividend payout or whether it will be the same or reduced, we don't know. But I think people are looking at the COVID-19 situation and stuff like that. There is a higher chance that the management can say, things are not going so well, I will reduce the dividend. But saying that, Singtel has always been a dividend paying company, and a lot of older folks actually buy it for the dividend. So I think the management will do a balance between reducing by how much. But it's very hard to please everyone. So I think this one is a wait and see, but I would say further reduction is definitely possible.
Okay, yeah. In fact, personally, I also think that looking forward, I believe that probably they will remain at about somewhere around 0.12, okay, or actually reduce even slightly lower. So for those of them, for the investors who have been collecting dividend happily, okay, for the past 10, 20 years, actually this comes at a pretty big shock for them. Imagine every year they collect 2,000, 3,000. Suddenly this year their bonus dropped by half. You know, so some of them might decided, hey, maybe it's time for me to just get out of this company, because of that massive drop. Yeah. So in terms of dividend play, I would say that based on the current dividend yield, which is less than 5%, and looking at forward, I would say that it's also a fail for the dividend play as well. All right. So next up, okay. So I think, we actually have to give the conclusion. Okay, maybe we give 3 good points on Singtel as well as the 3 not so good point about Singtel. So starting with the good one. So for the buys factor, I would say that Singtel, as you can see, is a weightage of 8% on the STI, and it's a good proxy of the Singapore stock market. So a lot of actually people, Singaporean including, invested in it. So including a lot of funds who are invested in the STI, okay, they will actually have to put in Singtel as some of their share as well. So that will make sure that the number of investors will remain pretty high, pretty strong. So that to me is a good point. Then of course, moving forward, I think something that I'm really excited about is of course the 5G potential. I think, like I said, it's not so much in Singapore. Okay, a bit disappointed in Singapore 5G growth, but as you can see in Australia, as well as in Philippines, Singtel is actually growing faster in terms of setting up of the 5G. So definitely more potential overseas. And of course, for the last good point, okay, Amazon interest to buy a 2 billion stake. Like I said, it could be a bonus. Okay, that means a one-time cash lah. But again, whether or not they will take over Singtel share is a question mark. But of course, you can see that for companies like Amazon, a tech company, having interest in this business, it actually moves that definitely there's something that they can leverage on. And of course, coming on to the not so good point about Singtel. Okay, so first of all, let's start with declining revenue. If you look at the numbers are really quite disappointing. Okay, so revenues are dropping, earnings per share are dropping, net margin is also very low. So moving forward, okay, will we actually see a negative earnings per share? I really don't know, but I think that there's a possibility that Singtel might go negative. And of course, the Bharti Airtel again announced its latest earnings. But again, the company, as much as it is growing, there's growth, but from a company perspective, are they making money? You can see that they actually had a net loss. So again, that was something that what we want a company that at the bare minimum is profitable. And of course, for the last point, okay, current valuation in terms of the pricing for Singtel based on PE 17.5 is definitely not cheap. If we look at dividend play, currently dividend is giving less than 5% with uncertain future dividend payout. Again, I would say that those are the not so good point about Singtel in terms of valuation. So I think, after we have gone through the good and the bad, I think what we need to do right now, Paul, is to give the final conclusion. So will you actually buy or will you actually not buy? But before we go to that, maybe we check with the listener, okay? What do you guys think? Whether based on what we have shared so far, do you think this is a buy, B-U-Y, or is this a B-Y-E for you? All right, maybe you can just share in the chat group.
Oh, wow, nobody's buying. Oh no.
All right,
Monday,
for those of you,
price doesn't drop because of
for
this.
those of you who own it, maybe Monday you will see a massive drop.
Oh, Edmund half. Okay, Jackson say wait. Okay. Oh no.
Lin,
Tony Young, you're holding it. Okay.
Lin say buy.
There's a buy. Oh, Lin. Okay, one supporter. Okay.
Yeah. Probably Lin is a major shareholder.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's time for us to show the answer for us. So I think I don't know. Actually, we didn't conspire on this, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just disclose this based on my opinion, and then I ask Bowen. Okay. So for me, this is a bye because I think my main reason is there's too much uncertainty. And like what Zihao said, right? Zihao is one of our bootcamp students. So basically, right, when we are unsure, we basically just wait and see. Too much uncertainty, dividends are dropping, new revenues may be harder to come by, transformation will take time. So at this point, even like let's say even if it goes to 5% dividend, I'm not sure whether that can be sustainable. So to me, it's a bye-bye. So how about you, Bowen?
Yeah. In fact, for me, it's also a BYE. Like, it's definitely a bye-bye for me. But I think what is surprising is for me, before I even go through this presentation slides, I think my perception of Singtel is actually pretty good. I thought that, hey, I mean, with the current drop, prices has dropped significantly. There should be some opportunity when it comes to investing in this company, especially it's like one of the largest company in the STI. And of course, if you just directly look at the dividend yield based on most of the website, they are still giving you a dividend yield of 6%. So looking at that, you'll be like, hey, right now 6%, hey, actually quite a good buy. But of course, if you actually dive in a little bit further, you understand that there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of risk. Even if you look at the potential of the 5G, I think one of the very interesting thing is that even for Singapore, in terms of 5G, I think the biggest benefactor of the 5G is actually this company called NetLink Trust. Okay, the company that actually set up all your fiber network and things like that. So most of the infrastructure will be done by this company called NetLink Trust and not by Singtel. Singtel, like I said, it really depends on what they really do. Hopefully they are able to do something about the digital part, okay, to make this to actually create more value. Yep.
Okay, so it's a bye-bye for us for Singtel, but we're not saying bye-bye to you. So we still have some time. So firstly, let me just share our resources. Like us on Facebook, on YouTube, follow us, and also get in the Telegram group if you are not. If you are new, share with your friends. Okay, we'll be doing more of this. So you find this beneficial, just share with your friends. The Telegram group has a lot of value and it's free.
Okay, so I think that's all for today's, which is for the Singtel. We hope that you guys are learning a lot from this particular series. So moving forward, yeah, of course, we will still continue to provide you with more companies, more Singapore companies, as well as more US company. Like I said, my promise for you is I'll try to find a buy company, a BUY company for Singapore. Yeah, so the next time I share about Singapore stocks, make sure you invite more friends to actually join us because it's going to be a BUY, it's going to be a buy. Okay, so
Okay.
bye-bye.
Bye.